Well, the United Kingdom has expressed its commitment to boost partnership between British and Nigerian creative industries, recognizing that the sector as a global cultural powerhouse. Making this assertion during a tour of Lagos-based world-class audiovisual facility, Ogidi Studios in Lekki, the UK Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, Right Honourable James Cleverly, stressed the immense impact of creative industry on the economy of any nation. Research also shows that the creative sector employs more than 1 million persons, making it the second largest employer of agriculture after agriculture, contributing 2.3% to Nigeria's gross domestic product and considered a priority sector in the growth of the Nigerian economy. Now, let's talk more about this. And I have the right man in the house to explain this to us and make more sense of it. He is the founder and chief executive officer of the Temple Management Company, a foremost talent management company and a production powerhouse in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Idris Olorunibe. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm going to start with this visit. Beautiful stuff there, that video, and I see that smile on you too. But I want to ask you, what does this interpret to us as a stakeholder? This attention is really significant.
I mean, you said that part of it in your opening. You talked about the fact that we employ 1 million people. And 1 million people is significant. 1 million people is the minimum reason why the creative industry and Ogidi Studios was one of the places that was visited. Now, at 1 million today, there's a potential to triple that, to quadruple that, and I mean, to continue to grow it with the right partnership. So I think that that is the primary reason why the Foreign Secretary was here. And like you said, I mean, I was full of smiles that day. I'm still full of smiles because it tells you that the time is now.
Interesting stuff. The time is now. According to him, he said the creative industries are turbocharging the economy. Now, one recurring theme during this visit is about partnership. What is your take with regards to this, and how can we really make it work for both parties?
So you see, there's the theme of the journey for the Foreign Secretary was go far, go together. And you know, there's an African proverb that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So that's the spirit of that visit. That's the spirit of our hosting the Foreign Secretary. We see that when you look at the creative industry abroad and you compare it with ours, you can see that they've advanced further, and it just makes it easy. It makes our journey easier for us to follow people who have done it before, people who understand it, people who have the scars from the battle, instead of us, I mean, getting scarred ourselves and making mistakes that they already made, maybe decade, maybe more than a decade ago. So it's a win-win for both of us because it's about business. We're not asking for aid. We're not asking for charity. We're asking you to come here and come and invest and come and make money with us. There's a lot of money to be made. There's infrastructure to be built. There's capacity to be boosted and to be developed. And the return is that if you bring £1 here, you live with more than £1 in the very near future. And the people in the room with the Foreign Secretary were carefully selected. They're people who have skin in the game, people who have invested their time and their money, and people who are serious about the business. So what it means is that you have people with good intentions, you have people with good character, and you have people with a passion to push the needle. And then you have us. I mean, you know, one of the things that we use in describing ourselves at the Temple Company is that we are audacious, and it's our audacity that brought the Ogidi Studios to life. And him saying that also shows that, I mean, we believe in our industry. Because when people are paying lip service, telling you that let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, without showing you what you have done, it's difficult for you to see it and to believe. So we have shown the proof of concept. We have shown that we're world class. He has seen it. He has experienced it. He said so himself in his speech later that day at an event he hosted. And I'm sure that we're top of mind now as a partner. And we look forward to, I mean, consummating some of these partnerships, particularly during the UK Africa Investment Summit, which comes up next year, where we can handshake business to business. And there's also government to government in terms of the policies. And look, it's just an exciting time. Like I said, the time is now. The current administration, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that was inaugurated 2 months ago, I'm privy to the fact that he's quite keen, and the government is quite keen on the creative industry. I know for a fact that a policy was written. There was a policy advisory council that was set up. That was the creative industry committee was chaired by somebody who we've been on this journey together, Mr. Tefati Ligiado. And I know that the recommendations that were made are very robust ones, that in the next couple, by the time, I mean, this current administration perhaps is going to re-election, they will be able to show their scorecard and show that what we have done as an industry. And we're excited. We're very excited about this.
Yeah, moving forward, I also picked there that Mr. Clevery talked about the global influence of our pop music culture, otherwise known as Afrobeats. That's on a lighter note, though, but you know the impact that is making. But I would ask you that how prepared are Nigerian operators in the creative industry ready for foreign partnership?
We're very prepared. I think that will be the short answer to your question. But the preparedness is as a result of the fact that we've been on this journey for a while, and we've done it all by ourselves so far. The global players are now keen, and thankfully they recognize that they're owners and that they're gatekeepers. And that is why we're stepping forward now as an industry together. Because if you do not protect what you own, I mean, it's easy for you to lose it to less deserving people and even people who just blackmail you and just write the story for you. So we are prepared. We're already global. I mean, look, just about a week ago or so, Wizkid sold out a stadium in England. And so what we're looking to do, and we've also started the journey. I'm sure you may have heard that the Afro Nation Festival is coming to Lagos in December. And it gives an opportunity for us to show what Lagos can do. What it does is that it brings, it's tied to tourism. So there are people who go around with this festival. I don't know if you heard, but I mean, there's a story I heard on the news, I mean, I think this morning, about Taylor Swift and Beyonce and what they are doing to the economies of where they're hosting their concerts around the world. The Prime Minister of Canada actually tweeted at Taylor Swift, and she added Toronto to her tour lineup. And immediately hotels started to sell out and all of that. So those are the things that would happen. So following the successful hosting of Afro Nation in December this year, what would happen is that we can now start to invite those international artists and show that the infrastructure that we have, even though we don't have everything that we need, we have enough to start. And once that happens, what would also happen, what would follow, is that people would now start to invest in the infrastructure, like we have said. You know, many years ago at the Temple Company, we sat down and we decided that we wanted to host something called the Lagos International Forum on Entertainment. I think the time for that is now. I think we're going to, I mean, we'll reach out to you at TVC for partnership. I think that we should bring it in 2024 and bring everybody who's a player in the entire creative industry all over the world to come and see what Lagos is, the entertainment capital of Africa. Let them come and see what is happening in Lagos, and let them come and put some money in Lagos so that we can all reap abundantly together.
You regards to that. But let's talk about investment risk assessment and, of course, return on investment guarantee. How bankable is Nigeria's creative sector?
So I would say that we are very, very, very bankable. And I have some data to share. You know, when we talk about the creative industry, I mean, we also call it entertainment. And when you think about entertainment, you also think about sports, because sports is the greatest live entertainment. Now, they say no risk, no reward. But let me dimension what the potential rewards are. The English Premier League, right, generated revenue of $10.4 billion in 2019-2020. Employment size of 94,000 jobs. They paid salaries of $4 billion. Now, for everything that is done in any clime that is successful, there's a potential to do it here. Because the ingredients that are needed, we have in terms of the people, in terms of the weather, in terms of the topography. So what it means is that we can develop and we can boost our Premier League from what it currently is with the right partnership, with the right support, with the right investments to start to earn in excess of $10 billion a year. Now, there are also many TV shows and movies that they shoot in other climes, in other countries, where the infrastructure supports. So Game of Thrones, for instance, was shot in multiple countries. The Crown, even though it's British, is shot in Spain, Scotland, Malta, Australia. Sense8, they shoot some of the episodes in Nairobi because all of those places have infrastructure to support. When Black Panther was made, the first part, the budget was $200 million. When the second part was made, the budget was $250 million. Now, out of the $250 million, Ogidi Studios cut a small check because the soundtrack was made here and in England at the Abbey Road Studios in London. Now, when these investments come and we have the right infrastructure and our skill level is as high as that of other jurisdictions, what it means is that we can get a bigger check. And what it also means is that, in fact, we can get the entire check because we have a major advantage compared to many other clients. Our weather is good almost the entire year round. And the journey towards that is already in earnest. I mean, last year and again this year, we're going to train in partnership with the Lagos State Government, the Gidi Creative Center, where we are upskilling young people to with the skill that they need to thrive in the creative industry. We did that in partnership with the University of Lagos and the Henley Business School that is based in England. Now, we have the infrastructure of Ogidi Studios. There's also the Freemi Studios that's not too far from us. And I know that there's another studio in Ajah. I know that there's a lot. In fact, we have a lot in our plans as well, a studio lot, otherwise called a media city, that is going to come upstream in the next couple of years. And so once that infrastructure is there, once the investment comes, we develop the infrastructure, utilization would follow automatically. So the risk is minimal. Again, content does not expire. Every year, once you start to say, once the Ember month starts, and then you get to November, there's a very popular international artist. Her name is Mariah Carey. Mariah is just waiting for you to start listening to All I Want for Christmas Is You. And once that comes, the next thing that follows is that the streams and the cash would follow. So when you invest in content that is made in the quality that we are accustomed to, and that is made with the standards that the world has set, it would always be bankable. And I see that in the near future that we'll be able to use our content to even borrow from banks.
Interesting stuff. We need to get to that point. Now, you mentioned the UK-Nigeria Investment Summit, which excites me too a lot because a lot needs to be put forward here. What agenda would you like to set? What are your expectations in Nigeria?
So the expectations are very, very simple. Let us understand that we are ready. Now, some of the challenges that we have are already being addressed. I know that the law was recently signed. I know that people who have, and again, a lot of times when there's dispute, we tend to leave it for God, or we wait for somebody to intervene, and we accept sorry and we move on. We don't accept sorry at the Temple Company, and I know that quite a few people as well in the industry have started to enforce contracts. So what it means is that if we respect whatever it is that we sign, we are bound to it, and we expect the same from you. And where there's a dispute, we are going to go to court, and we are going to get what our due is. So to strengthen that is one of the things that we would like to do, learning from their mistakes. Beyond that is also to showcase what our research has shown us in terms of the things that we need to do and the things that we need them to do and where we need them to put their money in entertainment, in sports, be it in filmmaking, be it in music, whether it's the recording part of it, whether it's the touring part of it, you know. So I mean, so that my expectation is for us to get very, very, I mean, beyond interest, get commitment from people who want to do business with us. And I mean, I think I should mention as well that it's not just the UK that is keen or interested in getting a piece of our industry. I think it's everywhere in the world where we have received interest. And, you know, but somehow, you know, that when Nigerians think about the UK, particularly London, they think that is just as close as going to Ijebu-Ode. So it's the UK's, maybe, I guess maybe they have the right of first refusal.
Interesting stuff there. Well, a lot said already, but just maybe on a final note, I'd like us to drop it that what directly do you think government could do to help you further stabilize or improve the lot of this very important and strategic sector? We know at the time that the central bank was working on revamping the National Theatre, spending a lot of money on creative sector. Did all of those monies get out? What more can government do to make sure that you're where you should be?
So the upgrade of the National Theatre is still ongoing, is not done. I'm excited by what that will add to our infrastructural footprint in the creative industry. But beyond that, you know, we say that we have two deficits, infrastructure deficit and skill or talent deficit. And like I said, in partnership with the Lagos State government and with several other partnerships that they have, they've been training young people. The more we train, the more prepared we'll be. Again, like I said, the game is not just about what we can create. It's also about what they can bring here in terms of movies or TV shows to come and create. It's also about the infrastructure for touring. So, for instance, I mean, the stadium where Wizkid recently performed. I mean, we cannot boast of too many of that. I mean, I know that there's the Teslim in Surulere, but if you want to tour, it's not a one-stop business. It has to be multiple. In addition, we also need to create a calendar. So the average tourist who is coming somewhere does not want to come for one reason alone. That's why Dirty December is such a thing. Because when people come for Dirty December, in fact, that's when a lot of people have their weddings. Some people even move their birthdays to that period. And then the concerts from Flight Time and so on and so forth. So people will come. There's something to do every day. Now, when a few years ago, there used to be on Easter Monday, the Lagos Carnival. We're speaking with the Lagos State government to bring it back and for us to produce it for them. What it means is that you have something to do and you can plan ahead. So once your calendar is solid, it means people can actually plan 2 years ahead, 3 years ahead. The Oju de Oba Festival, for instance, in Ijebu-Ode, what happens now is that as that festival is going on, different groups, different families are planning different events. The day before, the day after, the night of, and so on and so forth, because they want people to have a series of activities to do when they come. So bridge our infrastructure deficit. One of the ways is that there must be a hub, a creative hub in every state to start with, and then perhaps we want to move to having in every senatorial district, because everywhere you turn in this country, you have young people who are ready, who are creative. I mean, when you go on social media, the kind of things that you see, some of the responses you see on Twitter to things where it shows wit, and those people have not been trained. So imagine what will happen when they have been trained, and then we have the infrastructure, and then we have the calendar. I'm telling you, I think that there's a very, very, very high potential. I don't know how you can convince me otherwise that Lagos can earn more from tourism than any other thing, and there's the potential for several other parts of our country to get a large piece of that pie as well. The stories are there, the history is there, the people are there. It just needs for us to harness government. I know that part of what has been recommended as well is for the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria to also make some loans available in very small percentages, because it's a long game. Anybody who comes into the creative industry and thinks that I'm just going to put the money in and get the money out next year has to have a rethink. It will reward you, but you have to wait. The yield is a bit longer, but ultimately the yield will be full, and your harvest would be an amazing one. So please join us on this journey towards the remarkable creation of a creative industry that would stand shoulder to shoulder with any other one anywhere in the world.
Well, indeed, I must say, you warm my heart too. I agree with you. I will have a conversation for another day to look at the opportunities, like Lagos, like you said, what could be made. That's very strategic. I will have another discussion on that some other time. I must thank you so much for your time. Interesting conversation. I've been speaking to the founder and chief executive officer of Temple Management Company there, Mr. Idris Olorinimbe. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having me. Look forward to coming back.
All right, then.